So, what is it about Blue's Clues that has given it the staying power that it has for the last 25 years? Which crazy makes me feel old because
I know.
I remember
It
my
makes
kids
you feel
watching this
old.
with
I
me.
know.
How about us?
We were 12, I think. That's really what it is.
I know.
Um,
How did they even let you make a show at that
I
age? That's
know. It
crazy.
was like we were in our backyard. I feel like honestly, the stars aligned with this show. Like every single person that worked on it loves it so much and continues to love it. And we do our homework, we do tons of research with kids. We know what kids are excited about. We don't take anything for granted. We're constantly trying to raise the bar with regard to how kids are interacting and how they're learning and playing and laughing.
Yeah, and I think it's just that connection that was made of breaking that fourth wall of continuing Mr. Rogers' legacy, which Angela is so inspired by, of just connecting and looking in the camera and saying, you matter. And that really makes an impact as kids. And we all remember those shows that we grew up with kids. So especially in this crazy topsy-turvy time, just that those childhood comfy feelings are just feel so good. And how you can see how Steve reached out and like, boom, everyone's like, Steve.
Well, because we listen, right? I think that's what, we like to say. It's like we don't just necessarily have kids talking to the screen. We're listening and we care and we think they're so important and smart. I also think it's Blue's bark that has helped us last. Tracy's voice.
No, I think we know how to connect with kids, and I think we're kids at heart. So we just touch that. Yeah. Hello again.
Yeah, it's great to see you again. Yes, we did a Gabby's Dollhouse interview. So, and I even asked you about Blue's Clues then. So
that's right.
Yeah. So the last
we're all
time
one big family.
And is it blue hair that you have? Is it blue?
It is actually.
I love it.
Blue and purple.
Awesome.
So the last time we talked, we were talking about how Blue was originally supposed to be a cat.
Yes,
And
that's
so
right.
I read that there was a time where you guys had tested an audience with a female host. So I'm curious to know, would there ever be a female or a woman as Blue's host later on down the road?
I mean, absolutely.
Yeah.
I just honestly, we can't get past, like, we love Josh so much that like I hope he's with us forever.
Right. We want to be in the present, but thinking ahead. Absolutely.
Always. And we're constantly lifting to have women actresses be on the show as well. So
yeah, we have our new
thing.
librarian, Camilla, who speaks ASL, who just has a great connection with the camera, and she's lovely. And we have a new firefighter who's going to be coming on, firefighter Frankie.
And yeah, the show is so run by women that of course we
and let us not forget that Blue is a girl.
So I know you're not supposed to pick favorite children. It's like a thing they tell you can't do. But do you have a favorite host from over the years?
Oh, you can't do that. We love Steve the Steviest, Donovan the Donovanist, and Joshy the Joshist.
Or which one, like what characteristics of each one do you love the most, right? Like I'm sure we love them all equally for different reasons.
Right.
We were just talking about this with them. They all approach the show with the same respect, the same love for kids and understanding what the mission is, but they have a different way that they do it, right? Which I think we love the most in terms of being these warm, huggable,
guys you just want to hang out with, babysitters.
Yeah, and I think that
camp counselors,
right? Feeling, I think that there's just a little bit of a difference between the way they approach it, and I think we think it all works, and we love them. We love them all
equally. You can never say.
So I'm dying to know about the unaired episode called Blueprints. What was that very first pilot episode that was never aired for people, and will fans ever get to see it?
I thought it was out there.
So it's the snack time episode.
It is the snack time episode.
We did it as the first episode, but with a pilot, it was like us,
Right. There was no green striped shirt yet. It was just a polo shirt, because we didn't have money to do anything. The backgrounds were not as textural and 3D. It was more just 2D. But all the same elements and storyline. Actually, I think the script is
almost exactly the same. But we were figuring it out, right? So the pilot, when we watch it, it's like watching a whole movie because you just can see us thinking through every little thing, and change that or do
Right.
that.
And
Or...
it's a very funny story because we love the name Blueprints because we thought it was so layered and themed, because not only is Blue leaving her blueprints, but it's also blueprints to a child's mind. And we're all about that education. And so we were just so proud of ourselves later, like it has to be Blueprints. But, with Angela's background of research, of testing everything with kids, the research came back, they're calling it Blue's Clues. I don't care what you call it, it's Blue's Clues. And we're like, no, but it's Blueprints. And then we're like, we got to listen to the kids.
And of course the kids name the show.
Oh, yeah. And now we can't even imagine it not being called Blue's Clues.
Over the years, obviously there have been myriad episodes, and not to pick favorites, but is there an episode?
You're all about the favorites.
But I feel like certain things must stick with you, right? So is there an episode that you've done over the years that really just stuck with either of you in terms of like the content, or just, the way the host approached it, or the writing of it, whatever?
You go first.
Oh, I would say it was the first episode for each of them, like in some ways that sticks. So like Snack Time was so simple, but it hit all of what we were trying to say, of how the show was different and what we did. And when we met Joe, right, that level of playfulness that he has, and his ability to play with the camera and the kids in a different way that made them fall in love with him like that very first time. And then Josh just like dancing in and just taking over, and like just his presence like was just beautiful in his first episode. And then just continues to make
I would
us
say
laugh.
that's absolutely true. And then if I had to think of a specific one that really gets to the heart, is when Steve goes to college. That episode was, all the research that went into it, and the love, and how do we do this, and then their performances of both Joe and Steve was great.
Oh yeah, we had to throw away the first script because cried all the way through it. So then we needed to turn it around and think about it from Blue's perspective. And that's all we want, is for kids to say, we want to go to college like Steve, like we love that. So yeah, it's like turning something around, right? There was a little bit of a disappointment, and then it all comes back. They're all working with us now, and it's like such a family.
But I have to say too, though, all of our recent episodes with Josh that we've been doing, just when you think we've done them all,
it's
like
so true.
It's opening this whole door and just this new world of really pushing the envelope of, the thinking chair becoming a rocket and going into the Blue-niverse, and like it's just woo.
And then important topics of thinking about things, when you have a choice, right? When you're, in elections and just things like that, we're really trying to plant the seeds for kids at this age.
And internet of, researching, doing your research and not just believing what you hear. We're getting into episodes like that. So
yeah, really proud.
Yeah, very proud.
I have to say also that video that they released for Steve and the college had me in tears. So, and I'm sure it had plenty of other people in tears.
And no matter how often we watch it,
I cry
still
every time.
always it always triggers.
Yes. So it's so exciting that Blue is getting a feature film. Can you talk about the development of Blue's Clues and you, and this big moment for the show?
We feel like we want.
It's been a dream for a long time.
Yeah. We wanted it to be like Muppets Take Manhattan and Enchanted and La La Land and Elf. There's so many different worlds to come together. And Josh being Josh, who was Aladdin on Broadway, his ability to be the leading man in this live action film all over New York. It's such a love letter to New York. And everybody is in it and coming together to really help dreams come true, right? Which is really about hard work and making them a reality more than just wishing, and so it's such a great, I love it so much.
No, it is. It's again, talk about, blowing open to that fourth dimension of just seeing Josh in the real world in New York and seeing Blue in there too. And it's just mind blowing. And the musical dance numbers have just been extraordinary, it's so exciting. And really showcases Josh and all of his talents. I mean, we knew he was talented, and then it's like, oh my gosh, he's really talented.
But yeah, dancing and singing and all over New York, on top of Taxi, all over New York.
Yeah, and it was especially fun for us, having been in COVID inside for so long, to be out in the world again with each other safely, of course, tested every day. But, you know, again, seeing New York come alive too, and that energy and seeing people walking around, and again, the love letter to New York, it was just so, it just culminated into this wonderful energy that is palpable on the screen too. When we watch the dailies, it's just been fantastic.
Oh, well, congratulations. I know that's going to be super exciting.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
We're excited too.
Obviously, the music is an important part of connecting the kids to the show. Can you talk a little bit about the music and, you know, the creation? I know you talked a little bit earlier with somebody else about the composer, but just a little bit about how that process works. And, you know, is there a formula in terms of like how much music or how little music you put in each episode?
Yeah, we definitely, the show itself has a formula to it, but we like to break that mold all the time so that we don't fall into it, you know, that you're kind of sleeping through whatever. We really want to mix it up all the time. But we know with this age group, right, you like to have a song in your head as you're transitioning from one thing to the next. And, you know, even the idea of We Are Looking for Blues Clues that runs throughout is to remind them of the bigger mission of the day, right, which is the higher order cognitive skill that we want them to do, right? It's like we had a question, Blue is leaving clues, and we want to think about what that answer is going to be for the end. So we use music as a tool in that way. Plus, it's so much fun to watch them sing and dance.
Yeah,
in
it
this,
keeps
like,
their attention,
hyped-
it keeps them engaged.
and we want it's a tool to take with them, right? So if they can be singing that song, any of the songs, right, as they're remembering the planets of the solar system, you know, we think it's something that they can use forever. You know, that's kind of the way we think about it anyway.
I bust out into song all day long. So
Exactly.
What's your favorite song?
Which one do you sing?
oh my gosh, it depends on the day, but I'm constantly like, I sing song everything. My kids are like, stop it. But we used to like take children's books and I would just like make up a tune and I would sing the book to them.
Yeah, exactly. You're fun. That's fun.
So, which character other than Blue would have a great spin-off show?
We think they all would.
I know, it's like
we
the
can tell you
Spice Family.
Yeah, they have we uncover a whole new world for the Spice Family in the movie. We love Magenta. When she got glasses was like in a big moment for us. Tickety could host her own show as well. Slippery cracks us up.
Rainbow Puppy
is a
sure
star.
is like a huge star.
Shovel and Pal. You know, they all could have their own little
They could do
YouTube
that.
show, right? Like in terms of crafting.
Right, they
making
do
stuff.
like Shovel and Pail. I can see like on the H&G network, Home and Garden, you know, doing their like house rebuilds or garden rebuilds.
Yeah, they're very smart.
Yeah, can see them all.
I could definitely see a Spice Family like reality shows.
Yeah, like the Spice Family. 'Cause we're bringing in more and more of the Spice Family. We're
Yeah,
expanding with
there's
Grandma,
an whole extended family
Cayenne,
going
and
in.
Grandpa Time, and
We love the later in life twins.
Yes.
Like they're
Yeah.
just like ridiculous.
Too
So
funny.
fun.
All right. So I'm dying to know, especially since you already said that there's going to be a lot of people that Blue and Josh get to meet in the feature film. So can you talk about any of the cameos that we might get to see?
I think the only ones we can talk about are our family, which is Steve
and Donovan and Joe.
Donovan,
Mhm.
which
And
are really
cousins
fun
too.
the way we reveal them too.
Yeah,
It's
you get to
so
see a
fun.
whole new dynamic of the brothers.
But the rest
the
of the cast
cousins.
hasn't been announced yet, so stay tuned.
Awesome. Thank you guys so much. This was wonderful.
Thank you.
Great, good to see you.